Well, 15 years ago, I had ovarian cancer. And at that time, the doctor gave me chemotherapy. And after this was over, I just thought this is the end of that chapter in my life. That I'm cured and I can move on now. But 2 years ago, I discovered a lump in my chest wall. And I gave it, I denied it so much. I thought maybe it was a little lump with calcium or something like that, but it began to grow. And so I went to the doctor and I had tests, and I was told that it was malignant and that I would have to have chemotherapy and radiation. So I had my chemo here at the hospital, and after they finished that, they said that it really didn't do what they had hoped it would do. But I still had radiation, and I went to St. John for that and saw Dr. Kumar. When we were coming back from St. John one day, I took very, very sick in the car. And thank heavens we had our vehicle, but I was just very sick to my stomach. And that was the time I had the blood vessels break in my brain. And then I had to go back down to St. John, and I was in the hospital. I was in intensive care for a week, and then I was in the hospital for 2 more weeks. This was in the midst of my radiation treatments. And I had 16 treatments with radiation. And after that, we waited for 6 weeks, because apparently after the radiation, you have to have a little interval of time there that it may still be working. And we went to see the oncologist here for my final report. At that time, he went over the report with me, and I said to him, "So you mean the cancer is still there?" And he said, "Yes, it is." So I asked him, "Well, how long? How long do I have?" And he just sort of shrugged, and he said, 2 months, 6 months, I really don't know. I was stunned. I don't think I reacted very much to his words at that time. I think gradually it began to sink in what he had really said. And I become emotional at that time. And that was when he thought that I should see the psychologist. But I just thought, well, I have got someone a lot higher to talk to than the psychologist. I just wanted to go home and pray. So I did. And Jerry wanted me to go down to the lay clinic because he had such wonderful results there. So we made our appointment. It was in about 2 weeks' time, and we went down to the lay clinic to see the oncologist there. So we were driving along this Tuesday morning, and I was praying that God would give me the strength and the courage that I needed for the days ahead. And I was overcome with the most wonderful, wonderful feeling that I ever had in my life. It was just peaceful and serene. I can't describe it to anyone. It was just so wonderful. I knew it was coming from God, and then I just had this thought went through my head. He touched me and made me whole, just like that. And we went on down to Boston, and we saw the oncologist the next day, and she had all my reports there, and she studied them, and she came in and she said, "Well, I've got good news. and some bad news. But she said the good news is I can't see any evidence of any activity of cancer at this time. And she said the bad news is it will return being the type of cancer that it is. But for now, there isn't any activity there. So we left feeling pretty joyful and thanking God, because I'm sure that it was an answer to prayers. And the really amazing thing is, I came home and I was talking to a group of my friends, and they had had prayers for me on Tuesday morning at the time that we were traveling to Boston. The doctor down in Boston, she told me that it would come back. It's in my lymph nodes and my bone marrow are the carriers of these little cells, these little cancer cells. And they are looking for a place that they can latch onto and take hold. We all have things, we all have problems, things wrong with us, things that we have to deal with, and this is mine. Today, this was hard for me to do because I have a hard time talking publicly, talking about things. But I felt it was something that I really should do, because maybe someone would hear that and think about prayer more. I have had 2 different times in my life that things didn't look well for me, but I have never felt afraid of dying. I don't, you know, it's not something that I fear. There was one of the girls in our big book club one day, and I thought she expressed it so great. She's not a girl that I know very well. But she said, "You know how I like to travel." And she said, "To me, this will be the ultimate trip." I thought, what a wonderful way to feel, you know, that she's just looking forward to it. I believe that God hears our prayers, and He answers our prayers. In all my prayers to God, I always like to say, His will be done, because He sees the big story, the big picture. We only know our little segment of it. I have felt wonderful for 2 years, and I'm still feeling very well. And my energy's back, and I'm pretty much back to my old self again.